Conquistadors. Well, that's the topic of today's slideshow, video, whatever you may so call it. We're going to focus on three main conquistadors today. And conquistadors in general are Spaniards who are exploring with the goal of finding riches. They're not as much into the god part. They certainly want glory and they want to be rich. So first one we're looking at is Hernan Cortes. Now this is Cortes right here. Sly looking fella. I would not trust him, but he has some fantastic facial hair, which is a good thing, and a very ruffly collar, which I'm not sure if that's good or bad. So Cortes, he is in Mexico, lives now Mexico, is where he ends up going. So he's coming from Cuba, sails over in 1519, and lands in Mexico. When he lands there, the native people are like, "Oh, you don't want us. You want to go to the Aztecs." The Aztecs were the most powerful empire of that area, and naturally they had many enemies. So the native people that lived not within the empire certainly would have wanted to see them defeated. So Cortes rides along. He's sitting on a horse, and as he goes through Mexico, people have never seen horses before, and he's covered in armor. So he presents a fantastic sight. Many people, in fact, view him as somewhat godlike, simply because they've never seen anything like it. So Cortes gathers many of the native people, and they start heading toward the Aztecs. Now, the Aztecs have a capital in Tenochtitlan, which, for all intents and purposes, was an incredible city. It had massive buildings and temples. The engineering there was fantastic. They get there, and immediately they see the gold beyond all of that, and know that they can win, because they have people and they have weapons. Now, the leader of the Aztecs, his name was Montezuma, the emperor, and there was at the time a legend that a god would be coming. They believed that to be Cortes, which became unfortunate. Quickly they learned that Cortes was only in it for the gold, and start trying to repel him. The Aztecs successfully pushed back Cortes and his native allies, but he is successful in defeating, or Cortes is successful in defeating the Aztecs in 1521. He takes a massive amount of gold and riches from the area and subdues most of Mexico. Now, the success that Cortes meets, well, that encourages many other Spaniards who come to the area, and they create something called New Spain, which is generally the area of Mexico now. They put into place the encomienda system again, such as we saw on the island, forcing natives to work. And in this case, there is far more gold and riches to be found, so the settlers are far more profitable. The natives, once again, are hit hard by disease, and it's extremely hard to resist when you are weak from sickness. Ponce de Leon, he's in Mexico at this time. He sees the success that Cortes is met by, and he too wants to get rich. This is Ponce de Leon right here. Fantastic hat, also good facial hair. So Ponce de Leon, he hears rumors, supposedly, of a fountain of youth, so he sails to Florida. If anyone has ever been to Florida, much of Florida is swamps, and walking around in swamps in hundreds of pounds of armor is not particularly a good time. So Ponce de Leon trudges around the swamps of Florida, does not find a fountain of youth, and in fact finds some native people who are eager to kill him because, well, he's not particularly friendly. So Ponce de Leon is mostly met with failure, ends up leaving. However, the Spanish do start a permanent settlement in Florida, namely to protect it from any other settlers, namely the French. We begin to move then, instead of toward Florida, to what is now the southwest of the United States. So Francisco Coronado, once again inspired by Cortes, he's in Mexico. He heads north into the southwest. He's mostly looking for a city of gold. Of course, there is no city of gold in that area, so he fails. However, he does explore a great deal. Cortes, in 1540, he spends 2 years exploring. On one point, he finds the Grand Canyon, so he's the first European to view the Grand Canyon. And he meets many of the native people of this land. While he does not find the city of gold, it does encourage priests and other settlers to head into this area afterwards. So the Spanish establish a great presence in this area of the country. The native people do put on some resistance. Notably, you have Pope's rebellion. However, not much stops the Spanish and the Conquistadors, literally the conquerors.